Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a part 2 on the video that I did a couple weeks ago. Drugstore makeup products that I feel like are just as good as luxury makeup items. These are really comparable to some of my favorite prestige products right now, so I'm definitely going to be dipping into that and telling you what I feel like they're the most comparable to. And I'm also going to be doing demos throughout this video so you can get a little bit better of a vibe of why I like these products, and I always hope that the demos are helpful so that you can kind of see the texture, the formula, the way they apply, and what they look like on the skin as you're actually applying them. And hopefully that helps you with application or just if it's a good fit for you and your personal makeup routine. So as always, if the demos are helpful, please let me know, because otherwise I feel like it's super fun to also just do chatty videos where we just talk about the products together. So let's get into this, and we've got a lot to talk about. I think I've got like 10 or 11 items in this one. So first thing I want to talk about are actually some bronzing products, and these are really different. I don't think you need necessarily both or one or the other, but I also think you can use them together. So it's not really two different bronzers that I think you would need to pick one or the other. But like I said, you definitely don't need them both, and you'll see what I mean. So I'm gonna start off with this one from Physicians Formula. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Glow Serum, okay? This is marketed as a bronzing serum. This is by no means a new product. I've actually been in love with this for maybe over a year at this point. However, if you guys are in the Natasha Denona sphere, you guys know how much I love Natasha Denona's Glass Skin Serum. I have raved about that for as long as I've been using it. I think it's such a treat for dry skin types because it's super moisturizing, and you guys know I love that glassy skin look. She recently came out with something in the bronze line, which is essentially like a bronze version of the Skin Glass Serum that I love so much. And I actually think the Butter Glow is very comparable to the one from Natasha Denona, although slightly different. I think Butter Glow is a little bit more pearly, but this is such a unique product because you can use it a multitude of different ways. So you can use the bronzing serum as a priming step and just put this all over the skin and wear it on its own with some spot concealing. It's extremely moisturizing because the butter line from Physicians Formula really focuses on those moisturizing oils throughout the products. So you'll notice that if you are familiar with the butter line from Physicians Formula, it's really about juicy, dewy looking skin. Now with the bronzing serum, if you use this all over the base with spot concealing, it's gonna provide the base with just like a little bit of that Sunkissed tint, a little bit of that bronzy glow. Keep in mind, it is very pearly, so this is quite a high strobe level product, and then because it's part of the Butter Glow line, you're also gonna have that glowy, radiant finish from the product. So it's very moisturizing and performs more kind of like a serum facial oil type of product. But one of my favorite ways for actually using this product is for cutting other products, such as a foundation that you find to be a little bit too thick, a little bit too, you know, dry, or something that's just more difficult to blend on your base. That's where I think this product really shines. And because it has that bronze tint, it adds just a little bit of extra color to the product and gives you a little bit more of a healthy glow without making you look too dewy. So although adding it to your foundations is going to make the product more dewy, it's not going to completely transform the finish to where you feel like you look like a grease ball. And yes, this is more of an oil-like serum hybrid, but keep that serum in mind. It does slightly absorb into the skin, so you're not left with a totally like Crisco greasy layer on the base. Really beautiful if you're somebody that leans into a more dewy finish, or honestly, if you are tired of all your matte foundations, you don't feel like you want them to be quite as full on and intense and matte every single day. This is such a great product to pick up and add to your other products instead of having to buy an entire new base routine. This is just a nice little addition to what you already have. Now, this also does have glycerin in it, which you know is my favorite ingredient and probably one of your favorites as well. Glycerin is the key to getting the base to have that naturally juicy looking, plush, bouncy type of finish. And I just feel like this is great, kind of does it all. And if you've had your eye on the one from Natasha Denona, I would say if you don't want to splurge on that, this is definitely worth checking out first. Oh, you guys, this one's a treat. You're gonna be obsessed. This is from number 7. This is the number 7 Pro Artist Soft Glow Cream Bronzer. I have this one in the shade Medium Glow. Gorgeous, kind of like cream clay texture type of formula. little bit more on the waxy side in a good way. Okay, my stopper just fell out, but a little bit of a waxy feel in a good way. Now, what I love about this bronzer, first and foremost, just super comparable to the other prestige cream bronzers. I'm not gonna say it's like an exact dupe for one in particular because I don't think that, but think of your traditional potted bronzers that you're gonna be spending a little bit more money on. Chanel, Say, Dior, Makeup by Mario. Like, there's definitely prestige products that I find this could fit the bill for. Beautiful product. It's buildable, it's lightweight, it's velvety, and it has that gorgeous cream slip on the skin, so it just glides over the skin like butter. We've also got a synthetic form of mica in this bronzer, and I want you to take that out of the equation because it doesn't translate onto the skin as a proper strobe. This is not a pearly or shimmery bronzer. It's not something that the eye really clocks when you see it on the skin. It just gives the finish of the bronzer that really beautiful, soft, kind of like lit from within glow. So don't be afraid of the shimmer. It's what really keeps the skin looking nice and healthy when you're wearing it and applying it to the base. Now, this also has a gorgeous velvety set down. I think this wears 8+ hours easily, even without being set with a powder. Now, of course, if you want to bump up that longevity, I'm always going to recommend that you set your cream bronzer with a powder bronzer versus a translucent powder. That way you don't dull down the intensity or the bronze color. And number 7, I'm gonna say, like, this is one of those products at the drugstore where, like, it's a gem. It's a gem of a drugstore product. Next up, we've got 2 new-ish base products at the drugstore, and both of these I feel like are pretty hyped up, and I actually think they are going to serve you in 2 completely different ways. And I don't necessarily think if you like one, you're gonna like the other. They're 2 completely different products, but I like them both. I just use them differently and in different parts of my routine or like different days. It kind of depends on, you know, the makeup vibe and what you're going for. So I want to start off with this one from Maybelline. These are the Maybelline Lifter Sticks. Now, the unique thing about the Maybelline Lifter Sticks is that these are marketed as a product that you can use 3 different ways. So you can use it for foundation, concealer, contour, and highlight, I guess. Now, when I say highlight, I don't mean like it's actually going to have that, you know, glow on the skin, but you can add extra dimension to the base by choosing a shade of the Lifter Sticks that would be maybe like 1 to 2 shades lighter than your complexion, and it's going to add that dimension and highlight to the base. Or you can go a little bit darker and do some contouring and bronzing. Unique thing about the Maybelline Lifter Stick is that this is not an oil-based product, but there is oil in this product, and I think that's what gives it that gorgeous slip and slide on the skin. Now, because of that, I think that this is really an easy, no fuss, no muss type of product. I would honestly say if you're gonna use the Lifter Stick, you really don't need to bother that much with prep. As long as you're going in on a base that is adequately moisturized, you're gonna get the perfect amount of slip. And I would say with this product, you really would kind of want to avoid products that are a little bit too blurring or a little bit too dimethicone heavy, because I find that that just causes like a little bit too much slide and it almost fights with the formula of the product. So this is one of those products that I think is great for makeup minimalists or somebody that wants something that has multiple functions throughout the makeup routine and just wants something that looks really nice and natural and creamy on the base. Because if you are not as into creating, you know, dimension and using a lighter concealer and all of that, you could totally just wear this as your all over base color, pick it up on your finger, add a little bit more coverage under the eyes, or pinpoint those problem areas and things that you want to hide on the base, like hyperpigmentation, redness, darkness, all of that. The finish of the Maybelline Lifter Stick is more of a true satin, so I really like that because although I'm not gonna say you wouldn't need to use powder with it, it's not a dewy, tacky finish. I feel like it's got that really nice kind of good set down to where it dries down somewhat on the skin. But of course, if you are more sensitive or you just don't like the sensation of something that's a little bit more moisturizing on the base, you can totally put powder on top of this. I've used it with the L'Oreal Blurfection powder, and that's a really good duo. Honestly, this is just who I'm gonna recommend to anybody that wants like I said, no fuss, no muss, easy, everyday. Apply it directly to the skin, buff it out with a brush, you're good to go. And I like the customizable coverage. I don't think you can go wrong with this. All right, next up we have L'Oreal's Skin Ink. Okay, very interesting product. This is marketed as a semi-permanent makeup product because it's a little bit more industrial proof. Now, I don't even think this is part of the Infallible line, but honestly, you would think that they would put this in Infallible because the Infallible line is all targeted towards longevity-based products, but this is really unique. So I do want to kind of like touch on something, a little bit of a blast from the past. The first time I used this, it instantaneously reminded me of Maybelline's Dream Wonder from back in the day. That was such a volatile product. It was like you had to work so quick because it would just dry down impossibly quick. And it was a beautiful, lightweight product. And I think that's what makes products like these unique because they are so volatile and they set down like that. That's what kind of gives them that staying power on your skin because they're kind of immovable once they dry down. And that's why the Skin Ink has that really great longevity that's like kind of amazing because you don't even really need to use powder with it if you don't want to. Now, this is dry skin friendly. If you are properly prepped, I think oily skin would probably adore this formula because it's a little bit more stay proof. But because of all those things, it doesn't really linger on the skin with much playtime. And this is definitely going to be a product that if I'm recommending it to you, it's something where I've talked to you about this in the past, but with products like this that kind of dry down on the spot, you really need to work in quadrants on the face. It's not something that you have much time to kind of spend your time blending out because you will notice once this dries down, it's like you're gonna need to break it down with a milky base to get it to rebuff out. So it's so much easier to apply it to the back of your hand, get it worked into the brush, and then buff rather quickly, spot by spot and section by section on the face. Now, because the formula is so lightweight, it gives a unique characteristic of being able to be built on top of itself repeatedly for extremely full coverage, flawless finish. I mean, it's insane how much you can build this up and it doesn't stay tacky. It truly dries down. And I just think this is unique because it's another product from the drugstore that's marketed for its dual function. So you can use this as a all over foundation based product to just even out the complexion, or you can build it up on areas of the face where you want some added coverage and use it like a concealer. So that's really nice about that. Again, great if you're more of a makeup minimalist. I will say for myself, I much more prefer this as an all over base product versus a concealer that I would use underneath my eyes. I like something that's a little bit more moisturizing underneath my eyes. So it's great for hyperpigmentation, active breakouts, pimples, all of that type of stuff on the planes of the face. But for underneath the eyes specifically, I feel like this would be slightly a little bit too dry for a dry skin type like mine. Really great for these humid, hot weather months. And honestly, probably gonna be really great taking into fall and winter during the rainy seasons of the month as well, because even if you get pelted with a little bit of water, it's not gonna lift up or leave water droplets on the skin. So if you're somebody who likes to use a lot of, setting mists and things like that, this is industrial proof, really nice, lightweight. I do feel like with this, you get the best of both worlds. You get that longevity, but that feather lightweight feel. I would say this is one of the most long-lasting foundation concealer products I've ever tried that feels this lightweight. Like, it's so lightweight, you really don't feel like you have anything on because it dries down. It like dries to your skin. Like, you don't even need to use powder to set it. These are the best liquid blushes at the drugstore. These are the L'Oreal Lumi Lay Liquid Blushes. They come in 2 different finishes. So you can get the dewy version, which is gonna be a little bit more of a radiant, creamy finish on the skin, or you can get the glowy version. And the glowy versions have some visible pearl to them, so they're gonna be a little bit more shimmery in comparison to the dewy version. The dewy version, I don't want you to be totally afraid of because they're not sticky, because these have a gel formula. The formula is really unique. It's not like other liquid blushes where they're so overly pigmented that they're difficult to work with, but they still do have that high intensity pigment like other liquid blushes. But because the formula is gel, they lean into the territory where I would say a beginner could get away with using these. And I do like how with the liquid blushes, you can wear them underneath makeup to just give a little bit of a tint underneath your skin tint or foundation, or you can wear them on top of your makeup and set them with a powder if you so wish. But I definitely don't think that using a powder blush on top of these is necessary by any means because they are gorgeous. The formula is beautiful on its own and it's not something that you need. Now with The glowy versions, that's something to take note, is they are going to have a little bit more of a noticeable pearl within that formula. It's not flecky, it's not glittery, but if you are someone that really leans away from strobe, don't even bother with any of the glowy shades because you will see that pearl on the skin. The dewy version is what you'd want to lean into if you do not want any type of visible shimmer and strobe to show up on the skin. And because of the gel formula, they perform so ideally with other makeup products. I'm talking like tinted moisturizer, a full coverage foundation, a skin tint, or even if you're just applying it on top of skincare because you just want a little bit of that punchy color, they look like an actual flush on the skin. They will blend out and mimic your skin's texture and look like an actual flush on your skin. Also, just for reference, my favorite shades, so from the Dewy line, I really like Dewy Bright Pink, which is number 605. This is not a bubblegum pink, it's got a little bit more of a rosiness to it, so it works well with my skin tone without being like too Sabrina Carpenter or baby pink. And then I love Dewy Rich Coral, which is just like an easy to wear everyday shade. And then in terms of the glowy versions, my favorite, if you like more of a statement blush, and this is gonna be so great to take into the winter time, this is Glowy Worth It Medium. This is the one. And then also this one kind of reminds me of like a NARS Orgasm dupe. This is Glowy Gold Pink. It's that gorgeous grapefruit pink with a gold pearl throughout it. So very complimentary to warmer skin tones because it's not an icy pink. And I know if you have like a more of a medium tan skin tone, those icy pinks are really like what kind of bring out the yellow and gold tones in your skin, making you almost look sallow. This is a great warm pink to check out. And I love a gold pearl. Like, I'm a big fan of that, so they're great. Oh, and I also wanted to mention this really nice jumbo doe foot applicator. Okay, another blush favorite, we've got the Kiko Unlimited Blush. If you like powder blush and you're just not like a liquid blush lover, although this does pair really nicely with cream and liquid blushes, so definitely something that you could use for more of a multi-dimensional blush look. This is like the creme de la creme of powder blushes. There's a little bit of dimethicone in this powder formula, so it gives it that slip, that slide, where you feel like you could just pick the powder up in between your fingers and just rub your fingers together for hours because it has such a gorgeous emollient buttery texture to it. And I think the thing that really makes the Kiko blush take the cake is the blurring effect that this has on the skin. I feel like I have, you know, the most visible pores around this part of my cheeks, and I feel like sometimes that's why I like to use a powder blush on certain days, because this will give more of a filter effect on the cheeks. It just ever so softly blurs out those pores in the center of the face, which also makes the product great because if you think about it, most face types, most faces, most skin types, even if you're dry like I am, you lean into getting a little bit more oily in the center of the face. So this is great for kind of controlling the oils on the face in the center of the cheek throughout the day. She's velvety. She's ultra pigmented. She goes onto the skin velvety without clinging to areas of the face. And you know what I'm talking about. If you get a powder blush and it is like a little bit too powdery, a little bit too dry, that's when you start getting those clinging brush marks onto the cheeks. I never have issues with the Kiko Unlimited line. This is like a diamond in the rough of drugstore blushes. It's what I would recommend to anyone who's looking for the perfect daily driver blush, like just something that you could throw on easily every day. You know the formula is just going to glide over the skin. You're not gonna have to finagle it to get it to do what you want. It's a beautifully well-formulated blush. There's also so many beautiful colors in this line. This little gem right here, this is the Wet n Wild Breakup Proof Liquid Eyeliner. I guess my camera doesn't want to focus, but super tiny, teeny tiny grain of rice, speck of dust, little itty bitty brush tip. I mean, so super fine and gorgeous chocolate brown shade. It's also part of the Wet n Wild Breakup Proof line, so it's very water resistant and extremely long wearing. You guys know I am a fiend for chocolate brown mascaras and eyeliners. A lot of times I feel like they're kind of misleading because they lean more into that Java, almost like espresso type brown, but I want like a true chocolatey brown because if it's just light enough and has just enough red in it, it is perfect for making a brown eye pop. And with the Wet n Wild one, this is great. Previously, I was so loyal to the Marc Jacobs brown liquid liner, and then for the past few years I've also been extremely loyal to the brown liquid liner from Dior. Obviously that's a crazy price point for a liquid eyeliner, but the color is really what it comes down to. I do like how with Wet n Wild it hits that perfect chocolatey brown that's really gonna make a brown eye pop, really gonna make all those honey, fudge, chocolatey red tones in your eyes come to light and just make a brown eye sparkle. It's with this type of a shade of brown. It's really what makes a brown eyeliner special. And honestly, to have it at the Wet n Wild price point versus the Dior price point, which I've been repurchasing the Dior one for years because, like I said, when I find the right chocolate brown, I'm like pretty loyal to it. This is like laser precision in a liquid eyeliner. It's incredible. You can really make the tiniest, thinnest of lines, and you can even like just use the points of this bristle to really get in between each and every single eyelash. And I love the wear time on this. It's got phenomenal wear time. So if you are like me and you are obsessed with the Dior brown liquid eyeliner and you don't want to play that ridiculous price point, try out the one from Wet n Wild. I gotta give it a good shake so that you can really see what it looks like. Oh my gosh, give me a second. You need to see it shaken up for the absolute full effect. Hello, this is the Kiko Lumiverse Vertigo Setting Spray. Okay, first of all, gorgeous atomizer on this. Glass bottle. She feels luxe and reminds me so much of my favorite, the Iconic London Prep Set Glow Mist, which I use almost every single day of my life. You guys know how much I love that. Like, I am so loyal to the Iconic London Prep Set Glow Mist. The Lumiverse is slightly cheaper. I think it's like a full $10, $11 cheaper. The sad thing about this is that it's limited edition, but if you have not been wanting to splurge on the Iconic one, this is truly the next best thing. It is beautiful. Okay, it's got a really, like I said, super finely mist on it, so when it kisses the face you just have this gorgeous radiant soft pearl, and it's not gonna change the set down of your makeup, so it doesn't make the makeup become sticky, which I feel like is the problem with a lot of these pearly mists, and that's why I'm so loyal to one from Iconic. I'm looking at it over there, but I'm so loyal to that because it gives me that beautiful pearl, but it doesn't make my makeup look sticky or feel sticky. So I love that. With the Kiko Lumiverse Vertigo Setting Spray, you're gonna get a soft feather light feel on the skin, and the pearl is uniform and luminous. We have no specks, no glitter. You can look at yourself in direct sunlight, and yes, you do have to take that into consideration. It is a pearl, so you will see it on the skin, but it's not those little chunks and like droplets of actual glitter. So you do have to be into more of a luminous, radiant finish to want to reach for this. And honestly, I think this is phenomenal because you can apply powder on top of it. So sometimes if I've been like a little bit too heavy-handed with it and I've done a couple too many sprays and I feel like my skin is looking like a little bit too pearly, I will always go back in with just a touch underneath the eyes if I feel like the complexion needs it and it doesn't do that thing where it makes the powder kind of like grab and settle onto different areas of the face. So it's a very touch-up friendly, powder friendly setting mist. You can tweak this to get it to look exactly the way you want, but I am telling you, if you're someone who doesn't really tend to wear highlight on the base, so you don't like to put highlight on the high points of the cheekbones or anything like that, but you feel like your base is missing something, you feel like you just don't have that ethereal lit from within glow, it's probably going to be so much more your speed to use a pearlizing setting mist like that, because it's just going to give you a veil of pearl. So you're not going to see concentrated areas of pearl on the base where you just have kind of like stripes of highlight on designated areas of the face. It's going to give you more of that uniform, all over, soft, angelic glow. And really can't emphasize this enough. What I like so much about the Lumiverse one and why I'm going to compare it to the one from Iconic is because it does not make the makeup sticky. So that's a huge point for me. Like, I really don't like to do my final mist layer of something that's gonna make it sticky, unless it's like something that I want, like a moisturizing mist or something, then I'm okay with it being like a little bit more tacky, a little bit more dewy. But with the Vertigo one, it's so feather fine of a mist that you like don't even feel it on your skin, and it's beautiful, and like you're just the perfect amount of radiant. I don't know why that's limited edition. It honestly kind of makes me sad because I do also really like the Lumiverse foundation from that line, so I'm kind of hoping they make it permanent. This is huge. Like, I'm gonna be talking about this nonstop. So this is from Wet n Wild. This is the Perfect Pout Lip Liner Stain. First of all, take a look at this little applicator. Does that not remind you of the Stila lip calligraphy pen? Do you see how from the side, it's like a blade? And then from the front, it's more fanned out, but you do have that really nice, precise tip on it as well. So that's great because you can do these really precise, of course you can because it's a precise tip, but you can really kind of like create nice sharp edges and get your lip line to look absolutely perfect. This shade, which is Nude Tights, sits perfectly in between the Huda lip contours in warm brown and soft nude. It leans a little bit more into the warm brown territory. Like I would say that's what it's the most similar to. But this is huge for drugstore makeup lovers because you know how hard it is to find like a good mid-tone brown at the drugstore. I feel like most drugstore lip pencils, they lean into the warm territory or they're just like flat out pink, and that's not necessarily what I want to line my lips with. So that's why most of my lip liners are higher end, because there's more options to pick from between mid-tone browns and overlining shades. So this is so exciting because I think it has the same stay time as the one from Huda. I think it has that gorgeous, true brown finish on my skin like the one from Huda. And I love the price point of this. It's obviously a lot more affordable, and I really like the applicator on this. I think that's such a nice, unique applicator. Of course, if you've used the one from Stila, then you know what that's like, but this is a beautiful product. And I think, again, you guys know I always talk about this, but lip stains are a huge part of my lip combos because they are such a great anchor. So you could wear this on its own and it's just gonna like be stained on your lips. You can eat, you can drink. It's gonna last a lot longer than your typical lip liner. But I think where you really hit the sweet spot for a super long lasting lip combo is if you apply this as the base layer, then you go in with your lip liner, and then you go in with like your lip tint, and then your lip gloss. And then slowly throughout the day, as all those layers start to wear down, you are still left with the stain. So honestly, if you wear this, I feel like I only have to touch it up like 1 or 2 times a day and I'm good to go. It's such a great color. It's something that I think is such a steal at the drugstore, and I think this is better than the ones from CoverGirl. I like the CoverGirl ones, but I don't think they last as long. In my experience, the ones from CoverGirl, I know a lot of people are comparing those to the ones from Huda. I don't think they last as long, and I also think the ones from CoverGirl, there's not like a shade that I'm obsessed with, or at least I haven't found one that I'm obsessed with yet from the CoverGirl line, but this one in Nude Tights, I am obsessed with it, and I've been wearing it nonstop since I got it, and it's, like I said, it's very exciting because it's just like the one from Huda. Last up, we have a product from L'Oreal that I feel like deserves a little bit more attention, a little bit more spotlight. I know I talk about these on and off throughout the years, but like I'm really leaning back into these, and I just bought 2 more shades. So these are the L'Oreal Glow Paradise Glow and Balms, okay? These remind me so much of the Lancome Les Lacquers, which are, I'm gonna drop these really quick, they're good. I love the Lancome Les Lacquers. They are beautiful. That it's such a unique formula, and the L'Oreal Glow in Paradise is the same thing in my opinion. It's very similar, and I really like the shades of the Glow in Balms, but they have this unique formula where they feel more like a gel, but you get the shine from a gloss. They're still slightly sticky. If you don't like a gloss, I don't necessarily know if you're gonna love these, but if you are a gloss lover like me, you're gonna love these just as much as I do. Beautiful, cute little flirty pink colors, but also what I really like about these is that they have the actual hydration aspect to them. So they are actually moisturizing. I feel like every time I wear these, my lips don't feel like they're getting significantly more dry every time the product wears off. I feel like that's like literally the worst. You'll be wearing a lip gloss and then as it wears off throughout the day, you feel like your lips are like coming off in sheets. These are actually moisturizing like a lip balm that has some nourishing aspect to it. I would honestly compare the moisturization sensation of these to be somewhat similar to a peptide lip treatment. Not quite as glossy as some of my favorite peptide lip treatments, but the cushion aspect of these is incredible. They are so cushiony and they feel so high end, and they remind me so much of the ones from Lancome. I don't know if I would ever splurge on the Lancome ones again unless it was for a specific shade, but in terms of the way they feel on the lips, that cushiony glide, that just like pillowy softness they give your lips, just go with the L'Oreal. I have 4 shades right now that I really love. So I like Sophisticated Rose, Feathery, Fleur, Celestial Blossom. This is like my favorite milky one. And then Porcelain Petal. I don't like when a lip gloss is fully opaque. Like, don't even get me started on that. Like, a lip gloss should be sheer and milky enough to where you can still see your own lip color from behind it, but not so full on that it looks like a lipstick, you know? Because if I want that, I would just wear a lipstick. When I buy a gloss, I want it to be glossy. They're ultra fabulous just because they do not get gooey. So again, keep in mind, it is gloss, so it's gonna feel glossy, but like I don't find them to be gooey or heavy. It's not like a MAC lip gloss situation or like a, you know, Ole Henriksen peptide lip treatment situation, which you guys know I love, but I know most people, you tend to want something a little bit more lightweight. So you really are getting, I know I say this a lot, but you do kind of get the best of both worlds with these specifically because they feel a little bit more lightweight and you just have like a really nice cushiony slide to the lips that I find so addicting, and they shine like glass. Now, what I also like about these is that they are pretty long wear in my opinion because they have that more kind of like gel-like formula. They stay put, they don't melt down the lips quite as quickly, and because of that, you can also pair them with long wear lip pencils and they don't seem to like eat away at lip pencil quite as fast as some other lip products do. A lot of times I think that's lip products that have more of a higher oil concentration within the formula. That tends to be what eats down at lip liners a little bit quicker than other things typically do, but they pair really nicely with lip liners and you don't get that like weird ring of lip liner around your mouth after a while, and they don't make lip liner feather throughout the mouth as well. All right, so that is everything I wanted to mention for today's video. If you have any questions, you can always hit me up in the comments down below and I'll do my best to help you out, or if you have any questions about these products specifically, leave them down below, I'll get back to you. I'll also have my Instagram and my TikTok in the description box, so please be sure to come follow me on there because there is even more beauty content on my Instagram and my TikTok. And I will list and link all these products in the description. I can't remember if I said that already, but let me know if there are any other new drugstore products that you really want to see in some new YouTube videos, or if there's like a specific tutorial or a video that you're really wanting to see for YouTube. Please leave your suggestions down below so I can add them to my filming list. But other than that, I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. Bye guys.